This is Nightmare Man.
Diva of the day.
And you just entered Monsters from the Basement.
There's one that you haven't cried at yet.
Don't make me all weepy, bitch.
I gave you all my Kleenex.
It's gonna happen. January 1st, 1972, Dr. Creep Shock Theater debuted on Channel 22 in Dayton, Ohio. He not only touched my life in, as you can see, many ways, kind of scared. He touched so many people's lives. He went on to host Clubhouse 22, the afternoon kids show, where he showed us Ultraman, Speed Racer, and I'm going to cry, Jason. Don't let me do it. Thank you. Ow, that fucking hurt. Thank you. Now I'll get angry about it. Barry Hobart as Dr. Creep went on to not only host Clubhouse 22, Shock Theater, the new Shock Theater. He touched so many people's lives in so many ways. Anybody who knew him loved the man. He loved people deeply. His work in the Muscular Dystrophy Association and his own Project Smiles, where he brought Christmas to thousands of families in the Dayton, Ohio area, that deserves applause. Now, it is applause. I remember when Barry, he thought in the 90s there that nobody remembered him. And he went to Cinema Wasteland convention, his first convention he went to, and realized how many people he has touched outside his own area, but around the world. He realized how many people recognized him and knew Dr. Creep, and how many people he's influenced to be horror hosts, and how many people that love horror hosts, how many people he influenced to love horror films. It enlightened him. It brought him back to life. Really, was a beautiful thing. And then there was the thing that makes me cry. When he brought the love of my life on my show. Brought the spirit on my show. He's wearing a Santa hat, and he comes on and says, "Ho, ho, ho, I brought you something." Little did he know it would really work out. It was a beautiful thing. Barry Hobart, a wonderful man. He's here with us right now, my friends. He is. I'm proud to congratulate Dr. Creep into the Horror Host Hall of Fame.
One more thing, folks. I want you to know that Horror Host is a special breed of people. You should all be proud of yourselves for what you do. And I want to consider you all my friends, because we're all very special. I want you all to remember this. Friends may come, and friends may go, and friends may peter out, you know. But we'll be friends through thick and thin. Peter out or peter in.
Rick Martin.
Well, not only me, but also Matt Brassfield and Andy Kopp. Dr. Creep touched us all in a variety of different ways.
That dirty old bastard.
And he would love you for saying that. When I was a kid growing up, the big things that we watched on TV were Speed Racer, Ultraman, Dark Shadows, and then Clubhouse 22 with Dr. Creep. Later, as I got older, I could stay up later and watch Shock Theater at night and get introduced to Hammer films, the Universal series of movies, Roger Corman films, and all that great stuff. wow, this is rough. I didn't know when I was a kid watching Dr. Creep on TV that in 1987, he and I would meet up and become fast friends. And then in 1990, we started a company together, and we actually managed to reclaim the Shock Theater Dr. Creep rights that a Dayton, Ohio TV station claimed they owed. But we worked it out, and we got the rights back from Barry to become Dr. Creep again. Back in the old days of VHS, I said, Barry, we got to put out a videotape of your show. Because mysteriously, all these 3/4-inch tapes of your TV show have disappeared from the television station and ended up in our hands. Let's do something with this. And I can remember, like Bob was talking about, Barry saying, nobody remembers me. And I'm like, yeah, bullshit, Barry. A lot of people remember you. We put out the Best of Shock Theater Volume 1 VHS tape. The editing is sloppy, but it was fun. It was a fun project. And that kind of got Barry back into the spirit of being Dr. Creep again. And over the years, what you guys have meant to him, all of the horror show hosts who have appreciated him and who have met with him at conventions, you guys were like his extended family. So you guys were also the part of keeping him alive as long as he was. And I want to thank you all for it. And thank you for arranging Dr. Creep to come to the conventions. 2 years ago in Cincinnati, he had a chance to meet Elvira. And he was like, she's the love of my life. Last year at the Cincinnati Horror Hound, he had a chance to meet, well, there you go. He had a chance to meet not only Ms. Monster, but also Malcolm McDowell. Together again for the first time. And Barry, we rolled out of the convention and we were heading back. I was dropping him off at the nursing home where he was convalescing. And he was aglow. He was beaming. He was like, this is wonderful, everybody. This is great. And he kept talking about Ms. Monster and Malcolm McDowell together again for the first time. And the last October that we did the Dr. Creep stuff, he was so happy. It was a wonderful month, and November was really good for him. And I'm glad that Barry left us kind of at a high point, and that he was happy where he was in life, and happy with his extended family and all of his friends. Yeah, and Barry got to see how everybody loved him. And when Andy and I started the new Shock Theater show in '91, that was another big element in Barry's life and what he really enjoyed doing. So let me pass it off to Andy. I talked long enough.
I don't know how many of you know who I am. I'm Andy Kopp, a filmmaker. And Reverend Zealot on the new Shock Theater, on there as well. Like Rick said, in 1999, Rick had been handling with Dr. Creep going around with selling the tapes. In '99, I with Rick, got together with Dr. Creep and got him back on the air with the new Shock Theater. We put him on public access in Dayton, and the show was once again an instantaneous hit, and it revitalized Dr. Creep to start doing more and start doing the show again. And we did. Brought him back to life, as he said. We did 20-some episodes over about a 5-year period, and that's what got him back in doing the convention circuit, and it's where a lot of you people got to meet him, was because of that, when we were doing the shows again, and he started trading tapes with a lot of you guys, and a lot of you got involved, and got to meet him, trade tapes, and it really got him going again, and it meant the world to him that he got to meet all of you guys, and got to be involved. And he constantly talked about everybody and said that the horror hosts were his family, his extended family, and it meant everything to him. So it was a big part of my life to get to do that. Rick and I co-wrote and co-produced and co-directed those shows, and it was a tremendous amount of work.
And we were the thing with two heads.
And we were the thing with two heads in that episode, which was we got closer than we had ever been before. So it was a huge part to do that. I grew up, as did Rick, and as did a lot of people, with Shock Theater. And what Lobo said earlier about his own horror hosts, how they were their friend, was the same thing for Dr. Creep with me. Dr. Creep came on the air the year I was born. And I don't want to get into this story too much. I've told it a million times since Barry's passing. But I grew up in a very dysfunctional home with a lot of violence in my home. But every time Shock Theater was on, that stopped. And the family stopped and watched Shock Theater. And it was as close to a family unit as we had because of Shock Theater. And I connected with that. And the reason I do horror films is because I watched Shock Theater. And I connected with that and connected with Barry. And that was my moment of safety every week, was because I watched Shock Theater. And people weren't getting beat in my house for 2 hours because we watched Shock Theater. And so it meant everything to me that, 20-some years later, Barry became one of my best friends. He was my savior as a child, and then he became my best friend as an adult. And it was an amazing thing to work with him and to travel Ohio with him, and for him to be a huge pain in my ass in the hotel, and to have to go sneak, have to try to stop a lot of you mothers sneaking in food that he should have been doing. Not you, Nocturna, you're beautiful. Every time I stayed with him, Ghastly, I'd come in there and it was an ice box, and he'd be sitting there in his underwear with the thing down to 30. They don't need that in the tray. But it was wonderful. It was amazing, and it meant the world to me to do that, and it meant the world to him that all of you guys were involved. So. Oh my God. Well, why don't you say that, Matt? When you were I'm talking, but Matt has started his own horror host show with the Baron Von Pork Chop character over at the Baron. Matt has been working with us extensively. Matt worked at the conventions with us with Barry as well. And Matt has done a tremendous amount of work. We have done a charity for the last 15 years with Dr. Creep called Horrorama, where we have raised money for needy families and needy children, and in a few of the years for families with soldiers in Iraq. But every year for 15 years we've done Horrorama. Matt has been helping us with it for the last few years.
First, I want to say that Barry would have been proud to be inducted in with all the people that have been inducted in. Barry also was one of those people that each and every one of you who have ever met him, he literally looked at you as a best friend. And he would talk about each and every one of you to us all the time. I don't know what else to say, besides I will miss him a lot. That's about it.
And I do want to let you guys know real fast that, my mom's in a nursing home, and I was there visiting with her. She has advanced Alzheimer's. And when I got a call from Barry's family that he had passed away, and it wasn't too long thereafter, probably within an hour of getting that news, that I got a call that Barry had been inducted into the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Just thought you guys should know. Why the hell didn't they do that when he was alive? I don't know, but there you go. He knows. He knows about this and he knows about that.
So, before you leave the stage, please, all of us were planning on Barry being here to accept this. But he is here, and growing up as a very young child in Eaton, Ohio, Barry is my friend too. So, if I could just, for one moment, I'd like to take about a 10-second, just a moment of silence for a man that meant a lot to a lot of people in this room. There's a lot of tears in this room right now. So, in your own way. Thanks, Barry.
Very good.